I mean, there's a lot of discussion that music is not as important anymore as it was in the earlier days. I'm not sure, because this might be true for the average of people, but there are still so many people who are really interested in music that I personally don't care if the overall population is more into, I don't know, video games or the latest Nike shoes or whatever. I don't care. My name is Robert Henke. I make music and I write software for musicians, and I make installations with sound and sometimes with visual things too. And most people know my work because I do electronic club music as Monolake. A former Monolake partner and pretty much one of my oldest friends, Gerhard Beles, started a music software company 11 years ago, Ableton. And at the very beginning he asked me if I want to be part of the team, and I was a bit hesitating because I thought I want to make music and not software. But finally he convinced me, and we developed a program called Live, which became more or less the standard for a lot of people which are into electronic music. So I'm part of this development team. For a long time it was 50-50, so I have 50% at the Ableton office, 50% making music. But the last 2-3 years I tried to focus on making music and to force myself not to be at the Ableton office. SAtN07 is a collaborative work between an artist called Christopher Bauder, and he built a matrix of 64 gas-filled balloons, and so 8 to 8 balloons, and they can move vertically because they're filled with helium, and each balloon has a white LED built in. And I make the music for this, and I can control the brightness of the LEDs. So we're creating three-dimensional patterns in space which are moving and flashing, and I do the flashing and the sounds. I'm still not sure. I like concerts where the visual side and the sound side somehow is integrated, and I can feel that it's one big thing. But I also enjoy concerts which are only about the music. For instance, Autocra are still playing in complete darkness whenever possible, and therefore completely keeping the audience focused on the music. And I find this a good approach too. I think the biggest problem is if you perform and someone is doing some visuals, because then very often you have this collision between what you want to do as a musician or artist and what the visual people want to do. Well, the internet, of course, changed everything. This is a very common statement, but it's very true in a way. Music is available for everyone. Everyone can make music available to everyone, and therefore it's easily possible to get to know music from unknown artists. But at the same time, there's so much music out there that it gets more and more difficult to figure out which music is good. But things like, for instance, Last.fm are really important to get to know new music if you're into discovering new music. And I'm not really pessimistic about the internet. I mean, yes, people copy my music, but as long as people, for instance, still buy my music, I'm totally fine with that. I can only speak for myself. What works surprisingly well is really download shops like iTunes and Beatport and Amazon. A significant income these days comes from that, which is a nice surprise to me. Then there's, of course, concerts. But concerts is a tricky thing. If you want to really make a living out of concerts, you have to be expensive. If you're expensive, you can only play at venues with a lot of people. If you play in front of a lot of people, you have to play more or less streamlined music most of the time, because there's an expectation. People expect music you can dance to. People, you can't do a totally free experimental set at a rave party. But the rave party is what pays the bill. So in a way, this argument that people can go to concerts is a bit tricky, because I personally really like to play in front of maybe 100, 200 people and being able to experiment. But of course, in this situation, you cannot charge a lot of money. So, and I'm in a luxurious position because I'm a known name in the business. But if you start playing out, you have a hard time earning money by doing concerts. And it's even worse for bands. I mean, okay, I'm a single person, so I only need one ticket for my plane. My stuff mostly fits in hand luggage, so I'm easy off. But if you imagine a band with a drummer, a bass player, guitar player, and a sound guy, and so on and so on, you suddenly have 5, 6, 7 people. If these people charge 2,000 euros, then it basically just pays for the hotel fee, you know. I also know friends who try to live from music alone, and of course they have to make a lot of compromises I don't have to make. If I don't feel that my music is good, I don't release it. If people really, really rely on making music, then they might release even music which is not 100% how they would like it, but they have to do it because, well, there's income. So I like the fact that I have my money from Ableton, and this makes it possible that I can, for instance, for a year not releasing a record but working on new stuff and doing research. And this independence is very important to me. But I couldn't make music if I had a full-time job. So this is the tricky balance you have to find. In Berlin, the situation is still quite easy because rents are low. But if you think about a city like London or pretty much every other city in the world, it's totally impossible to live from music alone. And I never expected to live from music. So I always had something else in mind, and I was always doing other jobs. Well, it depends how you define the genre, you know. I don't know what exactly techno is. I don't know what exactly dubstep is. You know, some of the people who are making the more interesting types of dubstep, if you talk with them about dubstep, they say, we're not doing dubstep. So I don't know about the genres. What I know is that electronic dance music will never disappear. That's for sure. It's because it's a specific type of sounds, a specific types of rhythms, and a specific types of overall structure. There will always be a DJ culture, and there will always be electronic dance music. But if this dance music will have a straight bass drum or not a straight bass drum, and the exact structure of the breaks, and if the DJ will use a computer, an iPhone, or turntables, or whatever, this is just the surface. But the fact that people will go to a dark place at night and dance to loud music, this will never disappear. If no one would listen to my music, and if no one would like my music, it would be probably very hard for me to continue what I'm doing. Of course, I like the fact that when I play a concert that people are happy. And of course, I like the fact that if I make a record, people buy it. And I like the fact that people express their happiness. You know, if I play a concert and afterwards I have people coming to me and talk with me about the music, this is very important. I mean, I guess I would still make music if only a few people would like it. But if really no one would like it, then I would probably stop. I'm pretty active on Facebook, but my policy on Facebook is that I only add people I know personally. But of course this can include fans I know personally. But it's also the case that a lot of people who are listening to electronic music are in one way or the other involved in the creation of electronic music too. So, you know, just as much as I'm a fan of, I don't know, Mode Selector, they are a fan of my stuff. And as much as I admire Uwe Schmidt, I know that he likes my stuff. And so the fans I talk to most are other producers I meet. And their judgment, of course, is very important. So for me, it counts more that someone whose music or other kind of art I admire likes my music or has a comment, could even a bad comment, like, I'm not sure if your last track is really your best one. Why don't you do more insert anything here? That's also important. But if the comment comes from someone whose art I like, then it's even more important than if it comes from someone where I have no idea what's this person's background. You know, if some random guy comes to me after a concert and says, "Hey man, that sucks," so what? And the same thing, of course, if someone comes to me and says, "Your music was great," Like I had once this funny experience. Someone came to me after a show and explaining to me how fantastic it all was. And I was listening to him and was talking with him, and I always thought, something is wrong here. And then I figured that he was confusing me with someone else. So random fans are not the most reliable source. But of course it's nice that people like what I'm doing and that people talking about it, and that actually people coming to a concert. I mean, no artist would probably say, I don't like the fact that people like my work.